Hey, Marlee. I know I said I was going to leave you alone, but I just. There was just so. That text I sent you just didn't say anything, and there's just so much I want to say. And I started writing a letter, but it just got so long. It was like 4 pages, and I was like worried that you wouldn't read it if like you got through the first page. And it was sad. And I just wanted to say all this stuff because I've been thinking a lot, and I just think I need to say it. So, I can't make you watch the whole video either. And I am going to say sorry a lot, and there are a lot of apologies in here, but mostly, I'm going to apologize for stuff I don't think I've apologized for. Just things I've been thinking of lately. And I'm going to say thank you a lot. That's mostly what I want this to be, is just to thank you for a lot of things I don't think I ever said thank you for. So, to start, just to hopefully get you to keep watching, I don't know why I never apologized to your dad. It always, even when I freaked out, it was like, it was just so overwhelming. I just felt like I was losing everybody. And at that time, I felt like he was the reason. Not the only reason, obviously, but I just felt like he was a big cause. And I felt like if I stood up to him and freaked out on the phone, I guess I can address Mr. Welch directly too, because maybe you'll show this to him. I don't know. But I apologize to you, sir. I don't know if you ever had straight up conversations with John and Sarah, but I know things didn't escalate the way they did with us. I know that as we got more removed from the house and time went on, it used to make me so angry that, like, John had a conversation with me about how, like, he had just let it go and how, like, there were wrongs on both sides, and how at the time we weren't really acknowledging our wrongs. And then again, I don't know if Sarah and you ever had a conversation, but she just seemed to move past it, and I just never could. I can't let go of anything, but even like, I don't know, I just want to apologize for not apologizing as well. And I don't know why I can't let things go. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that I wasn't even as close to the situation as they were. I got to move back home, try to, whatever, pick up my life rent-free, and they were different. They were much closer to the situation, and they could acknowledge their wrongs and move on, and I just wouldn't. So I apologize for that. I apologize now I'm talking back to you, Marlee, but it's the same thing, just for Casson in general. I'm sorry that I think I was the cause for most of that shit. I think that I was the least prepared to live there. I'm a slob. I didn't listen to you about smoking cigarettes in the house, and I just didn't care that much. And maybe I did in the beginning, but as the drugs, as I kept doing drugs, any little bit of me that did care stopped, and it was all just, we're living under a tyranny, and we must be liberated, and it was all just that stupid vendetta shit. And I just could have made it a lot easier. I could have done everything differently. I could have made the whole thing easier. Maybe it wouldn't even have looked the way it looked at the end. And you guys tried to tell me, both you and Sarah tried to tell me, and it just made me mad when I didn't win the first vote to move in. And if I'd listened to what you guys were saying, if it connected, I never would have moved in. I just, you gotta learn for yourself. And I sure did. So I'm sorry that I made that situation so hard. And Marlee, I'm sorry that whole thing must have been so hard for you. Nobody even acknowledged it. You had to play peacemaker. You were playing both sides. You were never at risk of losing me, but you probably felt like you were at the risk of losing your friends, at the risk of a strained relationship with your father, and nobody even cared. Nobody stood up to your dad themselves. Nobody did anything. It just all fell on your shoulders, and nobody appreciated that. Nobody thanked you for that. Nobody apologized for that. I mean, dude, if I saw someone treat you the way we were treating you, the way I was treating you back then, I'd attack them. I mean, I don't even know. I don't know how it happened, and I don't know how it took me this long to really acknowledge and just thank and apologize for that. Thank you and apologize for that. The other thing is the Matt thing. I'm sorry for the way that played out. I mean, every little bit, every way I handled that situation was wrong. It was just like in my head at that time, I'd lost Spids, I'd lost John, I'd lost Ryan, and it was like, I was free. It was like, all right, at least I can attack him, you know? Like, at least I get that out of it. I don't have to pretend for him anymore. But beyond that, I mean, that whole Jessica incident is something that haunts me to this day. And in that moment, that whole incident, in that moment, I felt like, I mean, I knew it was always like a sin. It was always something that weighed on me. It was always a situation I handled wrong, that we all handled wrong. But I felt really bad about it. I never let it go. But not letting it go, just because I didn't let it go, and I would make fun of him for it, and I would bring it up, and I wouldn't let anybody forget it, doesn't excuse anything I did. It doesn't make, if anything, that makes the situation worse. I just made it worse because I felt guilty about how I handled it. I've always felt, I mean, me and Jess are the way we are now because of my drug use, to be sure. But I've always really felt that just how everyone handled that, and especially how I handled that situation, just letting it go really contributes to just the way life is now in that regard. And so I've always felt really horrible about it. I've just never stopped thinking about it. And then I was just really shook to find out that you knew the whole time, because it was always this thing that I was thinking about and worried about, and always this thing that I couldn't talk to you about ever. And then I just found out that you knew the whole time. And it was like in my junkie brain, I just never forgot about that shit, because I was like, okay, I can steal, I can lie, I can be a junkie, I can be the worst, but I'm not him. And that's just not how sins work. That's just not how this shit works, and it was a wrong way to think about it. And when I fell into that hole and I decided everything was lost, it was like, okay, I can use this to hurt him. And I mean, that whole way of thinking is wrong. I'm sorry I dragged you into that situation. I'm sorry about the Steph thing, because again, that was all my fault. I dragged both of you into this thing and tried to hurt people with secrets. And then I got mad at you because of what I did, you know, like I let that secret out, and then I got mad at you because of what I did, and I'm sorry for that. I dragged you guys both into it, and then I made it other people's fault, and I'm sorry. But before that, I'm sorry for just that conversation we had in the car. I know it probably seemed like I was trying to get you to hate him. That's not what it was, really. It was just that, like, I just wanted you to see, like, it from I wanted you to know that, like, in my head, it was like Matt was never, like, a friend. And I know, like, I don't know if that's the same thing. It was like, I just wanted you to see where I was coming from, that whole Instagram freak out, that all of it, I don't know, that in my head there was justification for it. I'm sorry, there's a bee that keeps flying around me. But I guess that's what about. It wasn't really about making you hate him. I could care less. But you know what? what also feeds into it is I just felt, I don't know, dude, I know I've done a lot of wrong. I know that I wasn't as good a friend to you as I could have been. And one thing that really haunts me is one time you told me about, like, you just told me one time that, like, back when we lived at Casson, after, like, the you, Gabe, and Matt thing happened, that I, like, stood up to Gabe for you and was like, yo, you gotta just be acting civil if you come into the house. Like, I'm just paraphrasing. I don't even remember it. And it's always haunted me that I never remembered doing that. Because when you told me about it, you were, like, happy. And I just felt like it was something good that I did for you. And because of Xanax, I mean, I can't even be sure that I did it. You know, I hope I did. But I don't know. I don't remember doing that. And that always fucked me up. And then, I mean, obviously it's hard for you. I'm not trying to, like, take away from that. But when you and Matt broke up, like, obviously I was happy. I didn't want you to be with Matt. Like, that disgusts me. But, and I wanted it to stay permanent. But, and I mean, this is another thing I have to apologize for. So I'll do that first, I guess. I'm sorry about telling Ryan that Matt had told you that Ryan cheated on Steph. There's just so much stupid fucking drama involved in this thing. It's just ridiculous. I feel like I'm in an episode of Degrassi. But anyways, I'm sorry about telling Ryan. And that night, like, listen, I mean, it was, even back then, it was all just to hurt Matt. Like, when I told him, I had Ryan keep it a secret that I told him for so long. Just because, like, I didn't want it to blow back on you. It was just about hurting Matt. I just wanted to hurt him. I just hoped maybe this was, like, how we could push him out of the friend group. And, I mean, look, it's, like, that line of thinking that got me here, and that's why I'm alone. But I'm just walking you through it. So I'm sorry for that. But that night, this was, like, the start of everything. That's why I had to go and apologize for that. But, like, so that night, we were all drunk, and Matt was just talking, like, mad shit. And I don't remember, like, how it started, but Ryan looks at me, and he's like, I'm gonna do it, it's time, I'm gonna light him up. So he just, like, blows up on him and goes, I know you told Marlee, blah, 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 and, like, you and somebody else, it wasn't Sarah, because I know I was talking to Sarah at the same time, but you were coming to John's house. And this shit blew up, and I texted you and told you not to come. And, like, it was just that. And I mean, look, it's the same thing with, like, what I just talked about with Jess. I know that, like, all the friends I've lost is because of my drug use, and it's because of who I am, and it's nobody else's fault. I know that 100%. But I just felt like it was during that time. I don't remember the Gabe shit, but I stood up for you in that room, and I continued to stand up for you throughout that whole thing, and that's what I mean when I say your breakup was hard on me, because that was just the start of the fissures. And I mean, again, like, I know it's my fault. I'm just saying that I had your back that whole time. I had your back in that room where I wasn't going to let you walk into a shitstorm that I made. And Matt was freaking out, and they were, like, calling me one of the bitches, and that just went on forever. And, like, again, I know it's all my fault, but all I'm saying is I had your back in that room. I had your back when John said that he would stop being your friend. That whole shit was so hard on me because I just felt, I mean, it was the beginning of the end of our group, and that was just scary for me. I told you, shit's just so different. And I just started to break apart. So, but I just want you to know I had your back that whole time. I don't remember standing up to you to Gabe, but I stood up for you with them. They never spoke poorly about you when I was there without me saying something. It's all I'm saying. So then And I mean, I know it's all my fault, but then when it all shook out and I was all alone, I just felt like, at that time, it felt like I backed you up and then it didn't matter. But, I mean, that's another thing I have to apologize for. I'm sorry for all the scares. I mean, dude, whenever you would tell me stories about your cousin, like, throwing tantrums on, like, road trips or, like, texting, threatening to kill herself, like, I always thought that shit was disgusting. And I always hated it. And I never made the connection that I do the same shit. And you've been dealing with that psychotic side of me since I was, like, 16. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I never had a lock on it. I'm sorry I don't know how to cope with anything. And I'm sorry that I've scared you so many times. And I get why we're not friends. I get it. I understand. And I just want you to know that, like, I was mad for a long time. And it still twists me up to think of you, 'cause, like, there's just nothing I can do that doesn't remind me of everybody, you know, like, all my favorite movies. I can't watch scary movies without just thinking of you. I can't listen to Kid Cudi without thinking of them. All of it, you know? I watch a scary movie and I just wish you were there. But I know I did all this. And I know I'm scatterbrained and I'm going everywhere. But I just want you to know that I just, like, I wish you nothing but the best. I think about your happiness all the time, and I hope you get everything. I don't know. And listen, like, I don't be asking about you when I talk to Sarah. I really don't, because I figure, like, if you wanted me to know your business, you would tell me your business. I don't ask, but Sarah just tells me shit sometimes, like, about the dog. I just thought that was beautiful, because, like, I don't know. You've always wanted a dog. And I just always wanted to see you get your first puppy, because it would just be such a beautiful relationship. I just hope you have the best life. I hope you get the kids you want. That's another beautiful relationship. I just hope your life works out perfectly. I hope you get to study in California, if that's still the plan. You'll be perfect at whatever you do. I just want you to know that I'm not mad anymore. I mean, I know you don't care. I just want you to know that, like, I get it now. I really do. Like, I really get it. And I just hope your life is perfect. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't forget anything. I'm sorry about Kaz, and apologize to your dad. Apologize for Matt. Apologize for the scares. Just more thank yous. I just wanted to thank you. Like, before you left, I used to get mad. Not, like, at you, but I had just realized that, like, hanging out with me had become a chore. And that just made me so mad, and I just wished it wasn't that way. But now that you're gone, I just want to say thank you for doing that chore. Like, you just always made an effort to hang out with me when you were here. Like, always, whether we were just laying in bed or you would take me somewhere. And, like, I loved just, like, lying in bed with you and everybody. I was just writing this thing about beds. Like, my favorite life experiences are, like, all in beds. And it's not, like, fucking. It's just, like, 4 people on a bed. Whatever drugs, sometimes none, and just hours of TV. Like, we just chilled. Just, like, perfect comfort. But anyways, I'm thankful for all of that. I want to thank you that you always just made, to everybody, but you always just made me see the beauty in the world. Like, I mean, like, you can be lazy like none other, just like me, but you also, like, smoking was, like, special to you. We would go places, just beautiful places, like, even just under that Christmas tree. It was just, like, and I'd make fun of you for it at the time. Like, thank you. Thank you for just, like, making it an activity and making people see the beauty in the world. And the other thing was just, I don't know, I was just thinking about, like, that Zach Kaza shit the other day, and it was just so funny, because, like, just how, like, just, like, how big a day that was for me, man, because, like, I know you were probably embarrassed, and it's like, I don't even give a shit. And that, look, I never blew your secret up with Matt on that one, because he didn't know I know. But anyways, like, that was just such a big day for me, because I don't remember what I needed in the garage or why I had to go out there, and I didn't know you guys. Like, I just thought you guys were chilling. I knew you were out there, but I didn't know shit. And then, like, I went out there and, like, left and started walking to work, and I just remember thinking, like, damn, yo, like, just a little while ago that shit would have undid me, and I would have been, like, crying on the way to work. And it's like, we're finally just friends, like, we're finally just friends. Like, I finally did it, you know, like, I can finally just say I love her as, like, a friend and a sister. So that was funny. And that's why I was, like, so scared about my little squabbles with Sam on the internet, because I remember, like, I was just so mad and hurt for you, and I hated seeing you hurt. But I didn't want you to think that I was, like, still, like, in love with you, or, I mean, in love. Like, I didn't want you to think I was still obsessed with you. But, like, I just felt like I had to do that shit. And I don't know how you felt at the time, but I remember being so scared. Anyways, I know we probably won't see each other again. This is fucking 22 minutes. I don't even know if you'll watch the whole thing. But I just want to say thank you for all of it. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for putting up with it as long as you did. And I mean, like, you're just nothing but positive energy from me. I hope you get everything in the world. I don't know, dude. That's it, I guess. I think that's everything. I'll leave you alone. I'll love you. I mean, that shit. I still have that fucking rock. Like when you gave it to me, you said you felt bad because you never spent money. But it's like, dude, I still wear that Rick and Morty shirt. The gifts you gave me meant a lot to me. They really did. I love you, and I'm sorry